Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope everybody had a restful weekend. I know I rested. I know I rested Saturday. I actually volunteered yesterday and attended church while I'm giving everybody an opportunity to join us. Pull out your contractor's notebook, your pen, your favorite beverage. I don't have my coffee this morning, I ran out. So and I didn't make any tea, so I'm drinking water. So forgive me if I'm not sharp this morning. I'm drinking water, but I'm hydrating, which is good to hydrate early in the morning. It's a beautiful day after it rained all weekend in Charlotte. But oh my God, it's great to reframe and refresh as you come into the room. And you know what we do? We don't believe in growing alone over here in this circle. So grab a friend who are doing business because we don't do business alone. Here we are in Contracting Chatter. I'm your host, Luciana Turner. And as we return from a restful weekend, as we know, business owners, business founders, business leaders, we have to take rest. We can't just keep constantly going. We have to take rest. And as we rested over this weekend and recharged our batteries, there were a lot of things that went on. So let's talk about a few and do some resetting and reframing. One of the things we need to talk about is there's a lot of legislation making its way through Congress and Senate. And I know I said that wrong. Through the House and through the Senate. Congress is the combined body. Um, the FY 25 bill, in part and in whole, is making its way through the various committees. And someone is saying, how does that affect me as a business owner? Because any new legislation will affect how you do business, it will affect how you do life. So all of it affects you. For people who think or who believe that you can go through business ignoring Congress, that's woeful ignorance. Congress and your local level politics dictates how you do business. They set the laws that directly affects how you conduct business. They set the tax rates. They set the regulations that zones where you conduct business. They set the rules that say if you can conduct business out of your home. They can change a law that says you can't conduct business out of your home, which says everybody has to release an office. They set the rules that say that this broadcast that I am conducting out of my home office right now is illegal, and I must conduct this home broadcast from my office. So, yes, we must be and stay ever vigilantly aware of any legislation that is going through our local and federal houses. We must stay aware. And for those who want to say they would never pass any laws like that, considering the laws that are passing and that are going through, I wouldn't be surprised by anything that gets proposed from this point forward. So let us discuss. Contracting Chatter is a platform where we discuss all things business and all things government contracting. We complete the circle and we complete the conversation. We fill in the gap so that you can build a strong and scalable business. So, on my way to celebrating 10 years in business with the LTACG, and that's the LT&A Consulting Group, which is my consulting and training firm, I am sharing with you some of the lessons that I have learned while I share my regular content. And one of the things that I'm learned sharing with you, especially in my years in government contracting, is never say what anything won't pass. Excuse me, fumbling over my words this morning. And with that, let's talk about some legislation that's being proposed. Now, I discussed this last week, but it never hurts to revisit it. The president has proposed as a part of his FY25, and as we know, the government runs off of a fiscal year, which starts October 1st. As a part of his FY package, that the tax code becomes mandatory. Anyone who fails to file taxes is subject to a penalty, and anyone who owes taxes that exceeds $250,000, that is a felony. That is a part of his tax package. And while it's being touted as targeting the rich, it actually affects the middle class. And let me tell you how. Most mid-sized businesses are started by the middle class. And because of the way penalties and interests are calculated, it is easy for a $10,000 debt to run up. And because penalties and interests are calculated from the date they occur, not the date they are found, it is easy to rack up a debt. Now, I'm not talking necessarily about IRS debt. Government contracting, when you are incur a non-compliance in government contracting, the penalties and interest in government contracting, that non-compliance, the penalties and interest are calculated from the date it occurred. So if the audit occurs in 2024, but the transaction cost was incurred in 2019, penalties and interest are calculated starting in 2019 through 2024. I hope that made sense. So it's easy to rack up government debt. It's easy to rack up federal debt. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to make you aware of how easy it is for the debt to rack up. So don't say, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Say, I need to be more aware. I hope that makes sense. I hope you've now become aware of what could occur should any policy come into play that makes it a federal penalty. Now, if you're a government contractor, the government's not going to let you owe them. What they do is take anything you owe them off of your next bill and move on. So the FY 2025 bill contains a lot of things. So if you do not have a tax professional, obtain one. I'm not knocking H&R Block. However, as you scale and grow, you need to up your ante and scale and grow your tax professional. You should also obtain a tax planner, and they are not the same. So your tax professional and your tax planner may not be the same person. They can be, but they may not be. And some firms have them in the same firm, some firms don't. It depends upon the firm. And your tax person can still do your taxes and you seek a tax planner elsewhere. Does not have to be all in one package. We need to move away from this concept of one person has to do everything. I know we like the idea of convenience, but convenience costs us money in the long run. We need to run towards the idea of being economically sound versus being convenient, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, let me know and I will say it differently. Another thing we need to be aware of that's going on is a lot of agencies within the government are starting to drop their 5-year plan. The DISA, which is the Defense Information Systems Agency, just released their 5-year plan. You will see a lot of agencies dropping their 5-year plan. And somebody's going to say, why are they dropping 5-year plans? Most, if not all, government agencies operate off of a 5-year plan. It's 5 years because of one, the election year plus the 4-year administration. 5 years. So we're in the election year plus the 4-year administration. So you will see a lot of the agencies begin to drop their 5-year plan. And their 5-year plan will include and outline what their primary goals are. Most agencies in the government are trying to streamline, increase capabilities. Those are the latest, I don't want to say trends, but they're streamlining and increasing capabilities. They are training up the workforce. So if you're in leadership and you're doing training, it's key time to become a government contractor. I'm actually switching around my podcast schedule, and I'm going to release the 3 types of contractors my next podcast release, which will be next Friday. And I'm releasing that because a lot of people think being able to go into government contracting, I have to do it full time. There are actually 3 different types of government contractors. And depending upon what type you want to be, the type of strategy you need, and the type of effort you will put into it. So I think once you listen to my episode, it will give rest to a lot of you and clarity, and it will release. It'll just give a lot of people release. And then once you get the release, then you can go forward. So yes, if you're interested in doing government contracting, especially on the federal level, and you'll also see it on the state level, a lot of agencies begin to release their 5-year plan. Now, I tell government contractors all the time, if the government plans on 5 years, why aren't you? That is just my caveat. That is what I advise. If the government plans on a 5 years, why don't you? The Air Force is also standing up plans to stand up their new integrated capability command center. Now, they have been pushing this initiative for the last 2 or 3 years. And they're just going to, I'm not going to say bullhead, but they're going to go ahead and push through this. Now, here's my thing. A lot of people want to work with, quote, DOD, which I don't blame you. Those are deep pockets. However, people don't understand DOD is a mega monster. And DOD doesn't have one spending budget. DOD has multiple budgets, multiple procurement chains. So when I hear people say, I want to work with Department of Defense, that's vague. That's just like saying, I want to work with the United States. Well, who? Which state? Which county? What? You didn't say anything. So do you want to work with the Air Force? Within Air Force, who do you want to work with? Do you want to work with the Marines? Do you want to work with the Coast Guards? Who do you want to work with? Those are the questions that you need to answer when you're talking about, do you want to work with DOD? That's why when I hear that language, it's too vague. I want to work with that's why when people talk to me and I say I help businesses who want to work in government contracting, and they ask me, well, what type of businesses you work with, I tell you that tells me you don't understand government contracting, because government buys everything. So I don't work with one type of business. I work with those who want to work with the government. The government buy clown services. Do you want to sell it to the government? Is my question. That's the thing. Good morning, everybody who's entering the room. I hope you had a restful weekend. Welcome to Contracting Chatter. We discuss all things business, all things government contracting. So that's the thing. So as we're talking specifically about government contracting right now. However, this concept applies to business, period. Get focused, not niched, focused. I think people confuse the two. Focused who you are talking to or what you're talking about. And when I say I'm talking to businesses who want to work with the government, I'm focused. And somebody said, well, you need to niche it down. No, I don't, because government contracting is a niche. And I'm focused on those who want to work with them. Now, if I wanted to niche it down, my niche would be faith-based organizations or faith-based company. That would be a niche. But yes. So when people say what type of businesses, the type of businesses who want to sell to the government. So I want to make that plain. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I just wanted to make that point clear. So I don't want to belabor the point. This is Monday morning. People are on their way to work. But I wanted to make y'all aware of those two things. I'm revisiting the topic of the tax proposal going through. I believe it's already gone through the House. It's in the Ways and Means Committee. I think it's already gone through the vote. It was scheduled to go through vote on Thursday or Friday. I need to check the schedule again. Now, this is something I always advise my contractors, but I'm going to advise the rest of you as well. If you're in DC, a lot of these votes are open to the public. I would advise you to check the schedule and go sit in on and visit how these bills are voted in. You would obtain an appreciation for the process by doing this, and a better understanding for how the whole process runs. Understanding it and how it affects you will just give you a deeper appreciation for our system, one. Two, it would help you understand how you fit into the process. if that makes sense. And then I think it would bring you closer to the process. It would help bring you closer to the decision makers. And two, bring you closer to the decision makers. You want to meet these people. Now, if you're a government contractor, be careful how you do this. On your local level, attend these meetings. Attend all of these meetings, especially the appropriation meetings. You want to understand the flow of dollars and where they flow to. Now, I'm going to tomorrow visit the FY bill and the flow down of dollars from the federal level to state level and how you can visit the money and flow of money and where you can find some opportunities. For anybody who wants to work with me, you can hit my calendar. My consultations are not free. However, if you decide to work with me beyond the consult, a portion of that consultation will go towards the service. And then tomorrow I'll talk about some of the services that I do offer. Because I do come in and I do one-on-one consultations aside from the group coaching that I did announce on Friday night. I did announce the Sustainer Core, which is the monthly subscription service, which offers the training. And Sustainer Core is also available to my corporate clients as a great training tool, as a great onboarding tool for your employees. Just so you know, it's a way to get them on board without pulling people to train. Sustainer Core is a way to train your employees. So you can reach out to me about that. So we have DISA and the various other agencies dropping their 5-year plan. The FY25 bill is making their way through Congress. We have the proposed changes to the tax code, and the IRS is still streamlining their process. As they say, they are intending to update and modernize because they intend to, and they also, and I want to put this bug out there, anticipating that bill to pass, the IRS has pledged to take a portion of their budget to update their computer systems, to search for taxpayers who haven't filed, and send notices to them to file. And the IRS has a look back period, and I believe I've heard scuttlebutt, and I want to reach out to the IRS to have somebody from them talk to the platform. Their look back period, I believe, is 3 years, 3 to 5 years. I'm gonna have to check if it's expanded to 5 years. So if you haven't filed, you need to file. As a government contractor, you are required to file. For yourself, for yourself, if you're going for any certification, and your business is required to file. So with these upcoming changes, please file. FinRed, I wanted to drop that in there before I close out today's segment. If you're an LLC, the new FinRed regulation that went into effect this year, please, I believe you have to file by October 30th. No, September 30th. Sorry, September 30th. So if you're an LLC, make sure you file you've done the filing, the FinRed regulation filing. If you're confused by that, talk to a tax professional. Do not go to H&R Block about this one. I yeah, I've done some classes about that. If you're on TikTok or LinkedIn, there's a guy named Dwayne Williams. He talks about FinRed. He's coming back to the platform to talk about it. And I believe when he comes back, this time we're going to do it as a live. We're going to go dual live to talk about it. And we're going to talk about the FinRed regulation. So, yes. Because that is key and that is very important. And I don't want anybody to get caught because the penalty behind that is wild. I believe it's a $750 penalty per day if you don't file per business. So they really want everybody to file if you have an LLC. And I was looking behind the legislation, well, the reasoning behind that. And it's money laundering is what I came across. And there was some other stuff to it. So, yeah. So with that, I'm going to close out today's segment of Contracting Chatter. Just be compliant. I'm your compliance girl. I'm your contracting specialist. And I know I threw a whole lot at you, especially in the last 5 minutes. The key thing to staying in business is ensuring that all your regulations and all your ducks stay in a row. And I know somebody is saying this is a lot to take in. But one of the things we took on when we decided to be in business is we said we were going to run an operational, profitable business that was going to adhere to the rules of the land, which means we are going to stay compliant. One of the services I offer is a compliance retainer style service, which means that I keep you abreast of everything that you need to stay aware of. I come in and become your compliance officer. I'm the person who tells you what you can't do. I'm the person who tells you what you can do, what you want to do, and do it legally. I'm not I'm not an attorney. Oh my God. Hold on. My ass was acting up. Excuse me. I'm not an attorney, but I do work in conjunction with your legal to ensure that you're following the rules and regulations of the industry that you're working in. And with that, before I choke to death, I'm going to say, have an amazing day. And I'm going to get to work, you get to work, and I will see you tomorrow morning for another installment of Contracting Chatter. I'm your host, Luciana Turner, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next installment of Contracting Chatter.